Assalamu alaikum, everyone. You are listening to Travel with the Brownies travel show with myself, Asma, and my husband, Ahmed, on Radio Ramadan London on 87.9 FM. You can join us online on ramadanradio.org, and we are streaming on Facebook as well. So join us on either one of those platforms.
Or even on the radio, of course.
Yeah, or on the radio in the car.
But yeah, please call, text, WhatsApp in, get involved. We love to hear from you. It's an interactive show, inshallah. So the number is 077 614 60 614. Once again, that's 077 614 60 614. We will, inshallah, keep repeating it as we go along.
If we remember, because I think we said that last time and then we forgot. And then, but we disclaimer: just call in whenever you want, even if we're like in the middle of talking. Just call us so that you can, ask your questions, or if you've got any comments, if you've got any feedback, etc. Just give us a call, text us, WhatsApp us, and inshallah we will definitely respond to your messages or your communication. But this is we're trying to make it an interactive show.
A special show today. Well, the first of special shows, should I say. We have got two very special representatives of two very different groups coming on board to talk a little bit about their cycling journey, how you can get involved, or just find out a little bit more information about what they're doing. We hope you find it interesting.
Yes, so that is our topic today.
Exactly.
Cycling, and we're going to be talking about cycling, which we both love. I have probably done less mileage than Ahmed has, but we love cycling. And the picture that you can see for the online viewers, that's our picture in our local park. That's my bike on the left hand side, and that's his on the right. And we just love being on our bike and cycling all around. And you may ask, why does it kind of go into Travel with the Brownies? But
it's a great way of traveling regardless of where you're going. And although this show is mostly going to focus on national traveling, we are going to be touching on a bit of international traveling through bike for those that enjoy a bit of a challenge. But it's a great way to see things, more so than obviously being able to walk about. You can do a lot more on a bike, and possibly places where you can get to without a car. So it's a great in-between. It's a great mode of transport. It's really healthy, it's green. So why wouldn't you do it? Really is the question. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly. Why wouldn't you do it? So
should we get started with the first guest?
I've just got we've got a question first, and then let me just change the slide.
What's your question?
Why don't you change the slide? Okay, so we've got question time for everyone. So everyone who's viewing, you can see a picture of it. And for those who are not and who are listening on radios, the question is, in what decade were the first pedal cycles used?
So this is actually a really interesting one, because we found it really interesting. Well, I definitely did. If you can see on our show, that's one of the first bikes, or the style of bikes that people used. And what we're asking is, what decade do you think these were used in, quite commonly to start off with across Europe? So that's a bit of a clue there for you, if you're looking to do some research.
So the question is, in what decade were the first pedal cycles used? So don't forget, you can WhatsApp us, text us, you can call us on 077 614 60614. So that's 077 614 60614. So please message us your answers so you can get interactive. Or if you've got any specific questions about cycling, let us know. We've got our guests coming in soon as well, so let us know about that too. If you want to get involved in their questioning, or if you want to ask them a couple of questions about their group soon, then you can ask them too.
Okay, so
Okay, so our cycling journey. So what is our cycling journey? We're going to cover that in a couple of minutes, hopefully, because we've got some special guests coming. So our cycling journey. So mine is, I started from a very young age. I started probably cycling 4 or 5, maybe a bit older. I'm not too sure. So I started very young.
Yeah, it's common for a lot of people. A lot of people cycle when they're young, and then I feel like they don't cycle during those like teenage, early adult years.
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of people may lose like interest in it or something, or they don't follow it on. But this is a great reason to get back into it.
Yeah, but I think I was a bit different. So I loved cycling so much that I actually used to cycle to college. Okay. And where I grew up was predominantly
hijab flowing. Right? Yeah.
Basically, where I grew up, it was kind of you wouldn't see many Muslim females on a bike. And I remember so clearly one day I was on my bike to college, and this guy stopped in his car and said to me, "Oh, women shouldn't be riding their bikes. Get off your bike." And I was so taken aback. I was so shocked. Didn't know what to say, so I just carried on. I carried on cycling, and the whole way to college, I was thinking, oh, I should have stopped, and I should have said, we are allowed to cycle. What's wrong with female cycling? And I felt like, that there was such a, growing up, you hardly saw women on bikes. Muslim females on bikes.
Even nowadays, in certain places, I feel in the UK, you're still unlikely to see Muslim females. I think it is changing, and definitely our first guest will speak more to that. And it's something we would like to encourage, definitely, more Muslim cycling.
Yeah, so one of those things is I kept on going. I kept on going on my bike and kept on riding my bike, even though that person said that. But I mean, for a lot of people, if you got that comment, you would probably, some people would stop cycling. Some people would be like, I'd rather, avoid that kind of confrontation and just, walk. And so, the reason why, I'm saying this is just so that we can see about the times changing, and the fact that, make it, normalize it in society that Muslim women can be on their bikes. An interesting fact though, 24.7% of riders in the UK are women.
Interesting.
So only 24.7%. It's a very small percentage.
Considering, yeah.
So actually, it's very important for more of us women to get on the bike. And I still cycle to this day. I join in a lot of groups, and I do cycle, and we both cycle together as well. But I do feel that it's rather important to, to get involved.
It's a good way to stay fit as well.
Yeah. I think. So what was your cycle journey?
So I think I was that typical person. I cycled quite a bit when I was young, and then I didn't for a lot, throughout secondary. I don't think I even had a bike. And then in college, I was too lazy to wake up to get the early bus. So I was like, okay, let me take a bike. And then I think that's how I started cycling, to be fair. And it really took off. And then a few of us, I remember one time, a few of my mates, we were like, oh, let's just do something crazy this summer. And one of us said, let's cycle to Edinburgh. And literally, I'm oversimplifying it, but it was really that simple as well. We said it one night, and then about a week later, we went on our bikes and we cycled to Edinburgh. And similar to last week where we were saying we're really bad planners, probably a lot of it is me. We were very, very poor planning, very, very underprepared for that journey. And on that journey, on the first day, we got lost finding the place we were meant to be staying. And we met all these amazing people, but to cut the story short, it was basically how I fell in love with cycling all over again. And then I was taking the bike everywhere and anywhere, really.
That's a very long journey to do.
It was crazy
spontaneously.
Long. It was crazy long.
So weren't you scared? Not scared, but weren't you nervous about doing that kind of journey?
I think when you're young, and I guess it's easier being guys and being men, we literally just took on like we didn't know what we were getting ourselves into, to be honest. We just thought, oh yeah, we just want to have fun, we just want to do something, we want to have an experience. So we're like, let's do this. And that was it. We literally did it. And well, I guess it tells you. So when we were discussing it, there was probably about 10 of us, but on the day, only 3 of us ended up going.
Oh.
So there was a massive, a lot of people pulled out at the last minute. But it was amazing nonetheless. We had a really good time. So yeah, it was cool.
So I'm going to, so my mom, so just before we go on to our first guest, my mom was telling me, you should, from our last show, you should say some jokes. You should say some jokes to make it a bit funny. So I've got a joke. I've got a couple of jokes, but if we get time, we'll say the jokes. But if we don't, it's fine. I'll say the first joke, and you can tell me if it's a good joke or not. And Mom, if you're listening, you can laugh at it or not. Okay. So the first joke is, why could the bike not stand up on its own?
Why?
Because it was a too tired bike. What? I thought that was funny. I thought that was actually funny.
Yes, all right.
Oh, now you've got the cricket sound as well.
Yeah, I was ready for this.
You were ready for that. I would have thought you would have given it applause, but okay.
Next one maybe. Let's see how it goes. I need to do better than that.
Okay, right. So potential viewers, listeners, if you're not viewers, you can be viewers as well, because you're looking. If you found that joke funny, just text in saying that I found it funny. Let's have some Asma supporters. You're setting
yourself up for failure. There's no one going to text in.
Okay, so let's move on to our first guest, which we're really excited to have on the show today.
Yes.
And her name is Sister Ruqayya, and she is part of the Cycle Sisters. Assalamu alaikum, Ruqayya.
Wa alaikum assalam. How are you?
And we are good. And how are you?
Alhamdulillah. Well, thank you.
Did you find the joke funny?
No, not really. Sorry.
See, I told you.
Oh, come on. You have to be on the sister's side here.
Sorry.
No, it's Ramadan. We should be truthful, isn't it? Yeah. So, so Sister Ruqayya, tell us about your cycling journey. How did you get involved in cycling?
I think what you were talking about before, about when you start cycling at an early age and then you give yourself a very long gap. So I think I started cycling when I was probably 8 or 10 on my sister's bike up in Bolton, and then I hadn't cycled at all till about 5 years ago. I moved to London about 20 years ago. So about 5 years ago, I realised that my husband was out on his bike with 2 of my older kids, and they were going out, and I'm thinking, oh, I'm at home with the 2 younger ones. What am I doing here when everyone's going out on their bikes? So I kind of pushed myself. I first started cycling on my son's bike just to get a bit of practice around the garden. Yeah. And when you say you can never forget riding a bike, you really can't.
Yeah,
you can't, can you? I'm in my mid-40s and I'm thinking, this is great. I can actually cycle. So I got a couple of refresher lessons from Cycle Confident, which are great.
Oh, wow.
And I started cycling, and that's when I started with Cycle Sisters. It was at the same time when I started getting back into cycling, and Cycle Sisters has started up. And I was introduced to Sarah, the founder of Cycle Sisters, and that's when I started joining the group.
Oh, wow, that's brilliant. So just basically to get up and about and fit and just being included with the family. And I think that's so important, because you do see a lot of, even generally on the roads, you do see a lot of when they are young kids cycling, they are always mostly with their dads.
Yes, yeah. But now I can cycle out I've got 4 kids, so I can cycle with all 4 of them on the roads, and we're quite safe, yeah.
Yeah, how do you find it cycling with 4 kids on the road?
They're fine. Teenagers, the 2 are teenagers, so they're pretty good. The youngest is 9, but they're quite confident, because I think I kind of push them to be like that. And especially in London, you've got to be really aware of the safety aspects of cycling as well. But we have got a lot of greenery around us, alhamdulillah, so it's really easy to get to. But I make them cycle on the road just for their confidence. So when they get older later on and they want to cycle, they'll be able to do it without me being there with them.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good point as well, actually, because I think one of the things that might put people off is particularly when they have families, they feel, oh, it's not safe, or it's
oh yeah, most definitely,
yeah. So yeah, but I mean, like I guess what you're saying, and I definitely what we've experienced as well, is that it can be safe if you're taking the right measures and you know you have the right mentality in terms of being aware of around you, your surroundings, and making the right decisions at the right time, sort of thing. I guess
that's right. Yeah,
important, right?
Yeah. So let's get into a bit more Cycle Sisters. So who are Cycle Sisters?
So Cycle Sisters is an award-winning organisation which inspires and enables Muslim women to cycle. It's our Muslim women cycle groups that provide role models and are supportive and give a safe space where Muslim women can cycle without having to compromise on values. And they just inspire Muslim women to cycle so they can enjoy the health, well-being and the social aspects of cycling.
Wow, that's brilliant. I mean, I'm actually a rider for one of the groups in Cycle Sisters, and I know Cycle Sisters have a lot of subgroups, like in terms of different boroughs, etc.
Yes.
And it's brilliant because you get to meet, other sisters in your local area.
It's a great social aspect of it. Yeah.
And going around and going cycle and as you said, getting more comfortable in that environment, and going and just socializing with sisters whilst you're riding a bike, and it's awesome. I mean, you get to see different people on there, different kind of cultures, etc., coming onto cycle as well in Cycle Sisters, which is brilliant.
So I think when Sarah started the group in I think it was in 2016, when Sarah started it, she just started cycling on her own, and then her family and friends saw her, kind of inspired her to carry on, and then she asked the council to help out with accessible bikes. So even now on our groups, if you haven't got a bike, you can borrow a bike for the ride, so that doesn't stop anybody from not joining the group. And
that is brilliant. So you can actually, so you don't need to actually own your own bike to join Cycle Sisters. You can
no. We have a group of a group of bikes in different parts of Waltham Forest whenever we start our rides, and you can borrow a bike from there. It's just that the Cycle Sisters saw the need for Muslim women's cycle groups that offer like women wanted support and inclusive and sociable rides.
Okay. Wow, that's brilliant. That's actually really, really brilliant that, you may not have a site, like for some of the listeners out there, you might think, oh, I actually don't have a bike though, and I want to try it out, but I'm not too sure if I would enjoy it. And
good way to get into it, I guess, isn't it? Like if you're not completely sure, if you're not completely there, then
that's right. Yeah. So what happens is that when you borrow a bike, when women borrow a bike, they'll come and join the group, and they'll borrow it regularly, week by week. And then some of us, like for me, I started on my son's bike, and then I went from a second-hand bike, and now I've got a nice hybrid. But for others, it's like, well, they haven't got a bike, or they haven't got storage for a bike, which is quite a lot of the case as well. But once they start riding and joining our groups, they get more and more confident, and quite a few of the sisters have actually gone out and brought their own bikes.
Oh wow, that's brilliant. I mean, I was just thinking,
it's such a success story, actually. If you think about it, like just to have giving the opportunity for women to, or anyone really, to try it out, especially when you're outside of school or the educational structure. I feel is very different. You can have those opportunities, but once you're working and stuff, those opportunities are a lot less and fewer. So to have the opportunity and to hear that so many people have been able to actually then go on to buy bikes to feel comfortable enough to be cycling regularly is so amazing.
Yeah.
And I think especially for Muslim women, or even females in particular, generally, like to give them this opportunity to actually get involved in the cycling community is brilliant, because we need to have more of that.
Of course, yeah. I mean, it's like a lot of the women see like barriers which include like the lack of role models. If they don't see somebody who looks like them cycling, like somebody with a hijab or with a jilbab on, they'll think, oh, I'm not going to bother cycling. But once they come join our groups, we kind of help them, they offer them support that, you know what, we can do it, you know, with whatever you've got on dress wise, you can do it. And we kind of provide advice on how to cycle safely and comfortably in Islamic looser clothing. It can be done.
That's one something that I just came to my mind. I mean, I'm sure like a concern for many Muslim women that are listening, or even just generally Muslim women, is keeping their modesty. So how do you yourself like balance cycling with modesty?
I mean, I'm a confident cyclist. I cycle to work regularly now once I've started cycling with Cycle Sisters. But the modesty, yeah, I wear, for me, I don't wear jilbab, but I wear hijab. And that's another thing as well. When you're cycling out on the road and you see somebody with a hijab on, you get a little bit more concerned that, oh, if a driver goes past me, is he going to say anything because I've got a hijab on under my helmet? You know, that kind of thing. But alhamdulillah, it's the role of Muslim women around cycling around here it's gone quite high. And for what I wear, I don't wear anything that's lycra or anything that's tight fitting because no, I don't want to. And it's not comfortable for me. At the end of the day, it's comfort. At the end of the day, it's how you feel within yourself, what you want to wear. So I'll wear a long top, and I wear normally like jogging bottoms or something, but something that covers me. But once you're on your bike, you know, it's comfort at the end of the day.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Okay, it's, when I'm on the road, I like being totally comfortable. So you know, whatever you're comfortable with, I guess that's what you can do. And you know what, I've seen it in a lot of the Cycle Sisters, and even just generally when you see other Muslim sisters on the road, you know, they are riding their bike with you know, jilbab sometimes, you know, or even like longer dresses or longer tops and stuff. And if you do that, because you know that's I guess what's your best, you know, the best outfit that you'd like to wear on a cycle journey, and that's what's most comfortable for yourself. So before we wrap up with you, so any upcoming events for any of our female listeners to get involved with Cycle Sisters?
Okay, so we normally do group rides, which are on a Wednesday during the week and also the weekend, but we only do it during term time. Of course, because everyone has commitments like childcare is usually, and we don't do anything in the holidays. But at the moment, because it's the month of Ramadan, we're not doing any group riding at the moment. But once Ramadan has finished, inshallah, we'll start riding up. New groups will be starting in different boroughs for Cycle Sisters. The location is to be confirmed yet. And if anybody wants to find out, we have a Facebook page, an Instagram page. There's also a website as well. And Cycle Sisters are actually looking for a trustee to join their group at the moment. So if anybody of you out there wants to join the group, they're looking for a trustee. The deadline is, I know it's Wednesday, the 28th, this Wednesday, but there's still plenty of time to apply. We have outreach to communities to highlight the benefits of cycling. We make lessons more accessible with Muslim women. So I myself is a ride leader for Cycle Sisters, but I'm also in the middle of training to be a cycling instructor. So I can help out with one-to-one lessons.
Oh wow, that's brilliant. And is that all provided through Cycle Sisters?
That's all provided through Cycle Sisters, yes.
That's brilliant. Amazing. Yeah, amazing. I mean, especially getting yourself upskilled so that you can, you know, benefit other people.
Well, because I've helped my 4 kids to cycle, so that's a hard job in itself.
Yeah, I'm sure.
All the training that you need, probably, right? That's
you need more training with the kids and adults, and you need patience.
That's great. I mean, it was lovely to hear from you, Ruqayyah, and especially Cycle Sisters. I mean, it sounds so holistic what Cycle Sisters is offering, especially the training that's involved and all the kind of social aspects to it as well. And
definitely, yeah.
Jazakallah khair so much for coming on our show.
Well, yeah, sis.
All right. Take care of yourself, sister.
Okay, Assalamualaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
We will have more information about Cycle Sisters on our Instagram page, inshallah. That's Travel with the Brownies again, you've forgotten. And also we'll have information about our next guest, which we'll introduce in a bit. Did you have a joke? Is that what you're pointing at?
No, I mean, okay, I did have a joke, but
Is it going to be a bad one again?
It's up to you. It's your response. Okay.
Go on then.
See, we had somebody say harsh. Okay, so that means that you are really harsh in your response. Okay.
Wait, I've lost my sound effects. Wait.
How can you lose your sound effects?
Okay, yeah, go on.
Okay, you can't just.
I'll just do a cricket chirping myself.
Okay, right. So I'll give you the joke. Okay. So what's the hardest part of learning to ride a bike?
I don't know what is.
The road. Okay. Okay, I think you're just loving that creak sound.
I do like the sound.
I think you're liking the creak. Is it a cricket or cricket sound?
It is crickets chirping.
Yeah, I think you just like that cricket sound. So yeah, go on. Do you want to introduce our next guest?
Yes, and we will cover. Somebody has just sent a question in, but we will cover the question with our guest, inshallah. So our next guest is Brother Amin Omar, who is the leader and Amir of Riders of Sham. Amin, are you there? Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
That's really good then.
First checklist out of the way. How are you doing? How are you keeping?
Yeah, alhamdulillah, I'm good. Just I've the camera doesn't work, but the mic works, so that's great.
That's absolutely fine. We're sharing some well, at the moment, some of your challenges and your logo, so don't worry, we can show your lovely face a bit later on, maybe.
No, that's fine. I've stopped the video. I'm gonna stop the video today.
Okay, so let's get right into it. So tell us about Riders of Sham.
Well, I should be asking you that question, right, Ahmed?
Okay, so one of the questions that came in from WhatsApp, I have a feeling it might have been you, I mean, to be honest. So
no, it's not me.
Very, are you sure? Yeah, you sure? So the question is, I helped set up Riders of Sham, and obviously now we're doing more Travel with the Brownie stuff. When am I coming back to join the ride again? Inshallah, very soon. And I don't just say inshallah in that non-inshallah sense, you know.
In the parents inshallah way, how the parents
you know,
say inshallah.
Exactly. It's nothing like that. You know, I actually have a very close bond to Riders of Sham, and but you know, I've left it in very, very capable hands, better hands than my own, that's no doubt. So you know, there's no better person to be speaking about Riders of Sham than Amin. You know, he is one person that embodies it. It would be yourself, bro. So actually, before we get into Riders of Sham, tell us about your cycling journey. Like, how did you get into cycling? What was, you know, how did you get there?
So as kids, you know, everyone cycles to their friends' houses, and then you go out to the park or something like that, right? But I started cycling more often, and this is the reason why I started cycling. Every morning I used to wait for the bus that would take me into the city centre, Leicester city centre. So then I'd walk to uni at that point, but I'd always get late for my first lecture, probably like half an hour, 40 minutes late, because of the buses. And you know, like they say, job opportunities come like buses, and they all come at once. So this was the case with the buses going into town, and I just got fed up, so I bought myself a bike. It was, you know, one from Halfords. It wasn't a very good one. The Apollo Slant. I still remember it.
One of those basic. It was that green and white one or something, isn't it? It had like.
You remember? Yeah, it was.
Oh my gosh, I actually remember it. Yeah.
That bike was. We'll get onto that. That bike was the what's it called? The recovery bike, the backup bike when we were to Paris that year.
I remember.
Yeah, so that was my first bike that I actually used to commute with, and it used to take me about 20, 20 minutes, 22 minutes, I would, as far as I remember. But as soon as I used to get into uni, lock the bike up and sit down in my lectures, I would be like absolutely knackered, a bit sweaty. My legs will be thromping. And then obviously from there I upgraded bikes and I'd get quicker. I shortened the journey up to like 14 minutes when I went up to a road bike. So it all started
Difference.
from there,
Yeah, very big difference. And then
Sorry?
obviously from uni, I guess, Riders of Sham, right? So tell us about Riders of Sham.
But wait, first of
Oh,
all, I wanted to ask why was it similar stories about you and Amin? Like just because you couldn't be bothered to, or it was
The
waiting
bus.
for the bus, something to do with the bus, like
It's true. Maybe it's a lazy guy thing. I don't know.
lazy guy thing.
No, it's not that. Imagine waiting out in the early morning, and if it's raining or windy, bad weather, something like that would just, because you're not moving anywhere and you're stood in one space waiting for a bus, and that bus, the bus shelter, there was none. There was no shelter, so
I think it's an economical thing. Guys are economical. They're like, look, this is taking too long waiting for the bus. I can get there quicker on a bike. I'll be doing some exercise. So it makes sense. It's like, that's how guys think. It's like, this makes more sense.
What? So women don't think like that?
I'm not saying that, but in my case, and
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that at all.
I think we are economical too. I think we're, yeah. So see, somebody just said you both just did. So yeah, you both just did say that about being economical.
Yeah,
but yeah,
true. You're right.
So,
okay.
Going on to your question about Riders of Sham. So
yeah, go
on. Brothers at De Montfort University, especially DMU ISOC, as we used to call it, we were close, and yourself, Ahmad, and Abid, the two brothers that organized Leicester to Cardiff that year, you guys approached me and said, "Oh, you cycle? Do you want to join Riders of Sham?" Well, it wasn't even called Riders of Sham then.
I think not at the initial period. And then,
not the initial period. Yeah. He said, "Do you want to join this cycle ride?" And how it all came about was, you initially was going to climb Mount Snowdon, and you got Abdul Hasib to make the announcement, and he just randomly said, "Yeah, we're cycling to Cardiff," in error, and that just stuck. So from there, I think you planned the journey, and you and Abid took charge of that first year, isn't it?
Yeah.
And
tell us a bit about what it's become now, I guess.
So the whole purpose of the name as well, essentially was, when you're cycling, you're riding a bike. So we called ourselves Riders of Sham. Sham being the area that we were raising money for at the time. Sham, Syria being that area. And I still remember to this day that when we sent out a message to our friends and families at that time, there was only 3,000 to 5,000 affected in the Syria uprising. And now you look at the stats, there's the whole country's displaced, like up to 5 million people. So, it's even 10 years on, we're still raising for Sham. And yeah, the name is for that reason. Yeah, Riders of Sham.
So striking that even 10 years later is still relevant, where it shouldn't be, we would hope, but it is, unfortunately. So tell us.
Yeah, I mean, you think about other causes, because sometimes Sham does get, or the situation in Syria does get pushed under the rug sometimes. But the fact that, you know, Riders of Sham has been running for that long, and the fact that, you know, still raising that, it's just, it hits home, because you think that, you know, it's gone, this conflict's gone for so long, and sometimes we do forget about it.
Yeah, we do.
So it's a good reminder.
It's a good reminder, definitely. So tell us what you're about what you're doing this year, and how people might be able to get involved, maybe not in this year, but definitely in future events.
Yeah, definitely. So I think it's important to say that year, Leicester to Cardiff, we raised up to £7,000, and it's from there on, you know, this is from myself. I enjoyed it so much, you know, going out with your friends. You're doing it for a good cause, and you get to see amazing scenery, scenery that some Muslims don't get to see, because we live in the inner city.
Yeah.
So I said to you, I said to Abid, and I said to everyone else, yeah, we should do this every year now. The response I got, and I still say it today, quotation marks around it, inshallah.
It was one of those inshallah.
The parent inshallah.
It was one of those inshallahs, yeah. So the year after was Leicester to Paris. The time when it came about, no one had planned anything, and I started. I raised the questions with everyone. Come on, let's do something, but no one really wanted to do it. So I think I just jumped in the deep end and said, all right, let's do Paris. And from there on, you know, alhamdulillah, we've raised so much money every single year. We've got such an amazing team. I think we're over £600,000 over the last 10 years.
Wow.
So, and
that's amazing. Yeah. I remember you guys doing the Leicester to London. Leicester to no. I remember the Leicester to Cardiff as well, but I remember the Leicester to Paris one, and I remember Ahmad going on to that one. And
London.
Yeah, when he joined in London.
Yeah.
How are you guys going to do this? Like, how are you guys going to get to Paris? Because I mean, just the trek in a car. I don't know if you've ever been in a car. When we traveled from Calais to Paris in the car. I mean, it was like what, 4 or 5 hour drive?
Yeah.
And you know, you guys did it all the way from Leicester. And all the way to Paris. Like, how was that traveling? Like, what was the sceneries like? How was traveling on a bike all the way, all those mileage?
So, Sister Asma, I still question myself how we did it. I'll be God's honest truth. I don't know how we did it, because alhamdulillah, everything was planned, and I wouldn't say to perfection, but everything was planned. You know, the ferry, the hotels where we were staying, the logistics was planned. But as riders ourselves, we were not planned, and we had not planned for what was to come. There were days where we would get to our destination at like 3 a.m. Ahmad,
wow,
that as well.
Yeah, I remember those days.
Yeah, it was amazing. The scenery, the best. I think the highlight for me, for that journey in particular, was when we were coming back from Calais to Dover, and you could just see the white cliffs of Dover ahead of you, with the morning sunrise shining on it. Yeah, I won't forget that.
Oh wow! Yeah. And saying that you're nearly home and you're done with the cycling journey.
Because back then we were on a budget, and everything I did was to save everyone's money as much as possible. Because we were students and we didn't have much money back then as well. So we had to travel on Megabus, which takes like 18 minutes to get home.
Oh yeah, I remember that, because I told Ahmed that, just get me one thing from Paris, just one thing.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And he said, and he was like, what's that? I was like, just get me macaroons, yeah, from a really nice, like, you know, one of those nice, you know, posh bakeries in Paris. And then
them on the way.
Sorry?
Did he eat them on the way?
No.
I actually got it
He actually got it. Okay, it did arrive to me in London.
in pieces.
Okay, but it was all crumpled up. Like it was, have you ever had macaroons? And it's like it's easy to crumple, right? And it was literally like bits.
Crumbs.
Like it was
Yeah,
crumbs.
crumbs.
And he was like, "This is what happens when you go on the megabus."
I was blaming Megabus.
And also our van. The
Yeah,
van,
all my days.
we didn't have shelves in there or anything, so we just threw everything in there. Bags everywhere, bikes everywhere.
It was crazy.
Oh
We
my
literally
goodness.
chucked everything in that van. Yeah, it was mad.
But I guess it was the Riders of Sham's learning curve. I mean, that was the first one, and I'm sure you guys learned tons from that, and now you guys are probably
a
professional.
lot more prepared. Yeah, a lot more prepared. I'll go on to say, alhamdulillah. So since then we've raised so much money every single year. We've done so many different rides. You can check those rides out, obviously, at ridersofsham.com. You'll see a tab where it says previous rides. So all the listeners out there, please go ahead, watch our documentary as well. It's amazing.
Wow, we've got a documentary.
Yeah, there's a documentary there as well. So this year, you can see here, we've got 4 challenges, the most we've done in 1 year, in a year of planning Riders of Sham. So to start off with, we've got Fasted 500. This is an initiative that wasn't started by Riders of Sham, but we've partnered up with them, sorry, this year to allow people to come on board and raise money for Riders of Sham. So what that is cycling 500 kilometers in Ramadan.
Oh wow, okay.
500 kilometers in terms of mileage, that's about 10 miles a day.
Oh, okay.
So yeah.
A lot of different groups get involved with Fasted 500 actually.
Yes, sisters get involved with that as well. And it's tough. Yeah, I've not taken part in that one.
Yeah.
The next one down is our cyclathon, which is inner city cycling, but for 5 days straight. So it's almost like a relay type of race around Leicester, where we do it for 5 days continuous, but not one person is cycling during that whole time. We're taking turns. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's
The two that rely on the COVID restrictions to be lifted, as you can see, is the Leicester to Edinburgh and John O'Groats to Land's End. They're the really big ones. You can see John O'Groats to Land's End is from the very north point of UK to the very south.
wow.
So that's being done in 6 days. It's colossal. Normally,
I still question if that's really going to be possible. I'm interested to hear about this story of John O'Groats to Land's End in 6 days.
Because you went to John O'Groats.
Not on the bike, though.
No,
Yeah.
but in the car. It was.
Yeah, and that was a long journey. So
they're doing 150 miles on average a day.
Wow,
that's gonna be really tough.
May Allah make it easy for them.
I guess it makes it more of a reason for people to donate, right, to Riders of Sham, because it's a big challenge.
Yeah, definitely. And only the experienced are being allowed onto that trip. One above Leicester to Edinburgh, we've got so many new cyclists who are joining, and we're helping them out in terms of letting them use Riders of Sham bikes. We've got our own stock now. We've got up to like 7 or 8 bikes.
Wow. Okay, that's brilliant.
We've got the helmets there for the brothers. And yeah, it's we've come a long way. We've definitely come a long way. Yeah.
Alhamdulillah, we really have. I mean, I just want to start wrapping up, but just quickly tell us how people can donate and find out a bit more information.
Of course. So Ahmed, as you know, the ethos of Riders of Sham is the sole purpose of it is to raise money for charity, humanitarian causes, and we will forever do that, inshallah. As long as Riders of Sham is about, we will continue to donate. And to do so, obviously, just go on ridersofsham.com.
Yeah.
You'll see all the donation links there. We're raising money for international causes, but as well as looking after our own Leicester's hospice, which is a children's hospice that we're raising money for this year as well.
Amazing.
That's amazing. Mashallah. Very, very good initiative, because we, especially we try and think of, giving money to international places, but the fact that you guys are doing local stuff as well, is amazing. National causes as well. Yeah, it's really good.
Jazakallah khair, Amin. I want to thank you for sharing with us your amazing story. And hopefully I will be joining you soon. Be joining us again soon, inshallah ta'ala.
Inshallah, I will.
He gave me a wink, by the way, saying that he's not really going to join.
What?
I'm joking.
More like you better be ready for me to leave for however long.
But inshallah, I hope you do join.
Inshallah, jazakallah khair.
When we have our round-off meal later on this year, I'm expecting you to come along as well, because you missed.
Inshallah, I can't miss this one. I missed the last few.
Last one I think about 70 people came. So
that's amazing.
Yeah,
it's such a community. Thanks a lot. I mean, that's been really helpful. But actually, yeah, go on.
Just a really quick one. I did enjoy the jokes. The jokes.
See, thank you. I mean, at least somebody appreciates the joke.
They are jokes that you can't help but to laugh because they're that silly.
I don't know if that's a compliment. I'll take it as a compliment. I mean,
I've got a joke. I've got a joke that I want to say on here as well.
Go
on then. Yeah, go on. Yes.
How do billboards talk to each other?
Say that again. What?
How do billboards communicate with each other?
How?
Sign language.
Okay, that was.
I'm just gonna have this on repeat. That's
you know what? I think that's the only sound effect he has. So don't take it personally. I mean, I found it funny.
It's good. It's good. It's one of those conversation starters or something.
Yeah. Yeah, I think my mom would be proud with all these jokes on the show.
She might. Yeah, actually, you'll have to ask her. Thank you very much, Amin. Jazakallah khair for taking time to be with us, and we wish you all the best going with Riders of Sham, and inshallah pray that you guys reach your target and exceed it, inshallah. But what he was saying, actually, that last point, actually, I wanted to touch on.
Yeah.
Because he was saying about the unity aspect.
Right.
And I think that's not something we've touched on, but something that has been alluded to from both speakers, that there is this really amazing social element with groups of cyclists once you get involved in it. And it's such a, like, whether you're doing it for leisure or for challenge or for charity or whatever it is, the aspect that you don't plan for is meeting some amazing people, like-minded, and they're just on that sort of same level. Okay. Which I think is really nice, because
I do agree with you.
On like, if you're traveling on any other means, whether that's walking or taking the bus or traveling on an aeroplane, you don't always meet other people like-minded, even though you're doing the same thing as them. But with cycling, if you get to know these people, then that happens a bit more naturally, I feel.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I've not just got jokes, okay? I've got a little fact as well, okay? And I thought this was quite interesting. And I thought it's quite interesting there. It goes on nicely from your comment that you just said. Okay, so there was a 2014 psychological study, okay, and it found that cyclists, okay, tend to demonstrate a unique blend of intelligence, generosity, and cool factor.
I agree with that.
So I think the fact that you're saying, when you go on the on rides in these groups and things like that, you have a blend of people who are intelligent, generous. I mean, in terms of Riders of Sham, the amount of money that they've raised. And you've got the cool factor as well. I mean, who wouldn't want to join and be on the...
Exactly. Who doesn't want to be cool? Right?
I think that's the important thing, to be cool. The cool factor.
Somebody messaged in saying Riders of Sham, but I don't know if that was a dig or if that's a joke that I don't understand. So I'm just gonna leave that.
Yeah,
Whatever that. I don't know what that is, to be honest. But,
just leg.
we'll leave that there. I don't think that's. Oh.
You gave the answer away.
Sorry.
Come on. Right. Okay. So we didn't get any answers. Okay, for the question.
I mean, did you see that? What did you see the answer?
I did see it. Yes.
See.
Come on, can't even test you now.
No, we
But,
didn't get
yes.
anyone. Yeah, we didn't get anyone doing the answers. So we're quite disappointed.
We've got 2 minutes.
Okay, quickly. So the answer to the question was.
What was the question? The first pedal bike was in the 1860s, and it's this really cool front wheel pedal cycle system, if you can see, which I thought was absolutely amazing. Before this, if you didn't know, it was that same system, but it was like a balance bike, so it had no pedals, and you just run with it.
Oh, like the kids ones.
Like the kids' balance bike, but for an adult, which I thought was quite funny, and they called it a dandy horse or something like this.
Dandy horse.
Yeah,
That's
so some
interesting facts for everyone.
Interesting, unusable information for everyone out there, probably.
I should do the crickets for you because I mean, no one's gonna really use that.
That deserves like a cheer or like a yay or something, you know.
No, I don't think so. Okay, so final joke of today. Okay, what did the father say to his son when they got to a hill?
I don't know. What did they say?
Okay, he said, "It's just a hill. Get over it."
I like that one.
I mean, did a little chuckle.
You did
a thing. Okay,
I'll
yeah.
give you that.
So thanks. Yeah.
Ending on a high note.
Yeah, we're ending on a high note. But
next week, do not miss. We are talking about the Maldives like you've never seen or heard of before. At least we hope so. But you have to tune in to find out.
Yeah. So you might be thinking, well, what Maldives?
Everyone knows about Maldives.
Yeah, everyone knows about Maldives, but we will be covering something very special for you all next week. So inshallah, tune in to know more. And
Jazakallah khair.
Yeah, Jazakallah khair.
Speak to you soon.
Wa alaikum salam.